It's December 1st, 2021. What concerns me is I have a different whatever and whatever. And then I turn on The View and I hear this, and I hear some words that really scare me in what's going on in other places. But this is how it comes full circle. Couch potato sees something in real life that is really concerning, reports it to real people, and then the political circus does whatever they do. They portray to the entertainers to deflate certain hot topics and whatever, a certain message that is then portrayed to the public and then becomes like a really confusing message, even further, another layer of confusing message to try to decipher. Now, listen, I don't know what this GOP means. I don't know, again, this is language that the entertainment and news correspondents have constructed and lived within. I have not been exposed to this for very long, and I'm trying to follow along and to understand, like a foreign language student trying to learn English in the way that they speak it, but I'm having difficulty based on larger pattern between the real world and what's coming through on this level of entertainment show and on news topics being broadcast in a certain way and the language that they use.
But boy, oh boy, there's more to come. But we won't be mortified. Okay. Now, you know.
So this is on
GOP
ABC.
is not in the holiday spirit right now. They're infighting. They started with Congresswoman Nancy Mace condemning Lauren Boebert's Islamophobia, and then Marjorie Taylor Greene is piping in to call Mace the trash of the GOP, and Mace is shooting back with a tweet signaling that Greene is crazy. And then GOP.
This is some form of what I call synopsis. It's not surgical precision. It's kind of a wrap up in personal opinion and what they caught at human and people level.
GOP House Leader Kevin McCarthy, who's kind of useless in all of this, attempts to broker a peace treaty, and it keeps failing. So what does this say about the party right now?
You know, all I can say is the mob wives were nicer to each other.
Because the truth is that the inner workings are kept quiet for a reason. And this is the level of whatever. But it's also really dangerous when someone needs to get a message through, and this might be the response, or they might be harmed by people thinking or believing that there's something going on that's not, or more to something.
They were respectful to each other.
Yeah.
They didn't call each other names.
No.
Well, they were threatening each other, but still.
Can you believe this is our elected officials speaking this way? Like sometimes, I mean, we should be growing used to this, but I'm not.
Don't ever get used to
No,
it.
yeah. No, I don't want to.
No.
But it's interesting because, you know, just a few weeks ago, we were talking about some of the disagreements on the Democratic side between progressives and moderate Democrats. And when you looked at that, it's such a rich contrast. That was about policy. It was about what they're elected
They
to
don't
do.
call each other names over there.
No, that's what I mean, though. But then you compare over here, and we're talking about someone who called out a bigoted, racist statement, which should be a complete, like, zero tolerance. That's playing off the board. Everyone should stop and say, this was an easy thing to correct. You're being a complete racist bigot, and people are coming down on her. I'm like,
Nancy
what world
Mace,
are we living in right now? That's the game.
She's no beauty, by the way, Nancy Mace.
That's the thing.
But if you make your private, quiet informants out to be the bad guys, then what happens to your homeland and your homeland security? That's the question when you put these labels on in all the wrong ways. Yes, let me just. It's almost done.
I was going to say that. She actually voted against Trump's impeachment. She voted against holding the January 6th commission, and she voted to oust Liz Cheney. So it's not like she's the savior of the Republican Party. She's just slightly better than the one that's making the bigoted comments and the one that's supporting the one that made the bigoted comments. But in all of this, what strikes me is that Kevin McCarthy decided to bring those two women into his office separately to broker a peace within the Republican Party.
Peace on what?
Yet he, right? What he did not do is come forward and censure Lauren Boebert for making all of those racist comments against Ilhan Omar. And Ilhan,
Yeah, I'm just waiting for him to
was
finish
on,
this one little
Congresswoman
segment.
Omar was on television, and she talked about this horrible threatening phone call that she got the other day
From an anonymous person.
an anonymous person.
Which is yesterday's conversation that these people need to be outed, whoever they are.
It was unbelievable after Lauren Boebert said that about her. So they unleashed this terror on her, and Kevin McCarthy is silent. Crickets.
Well, but here's what's going to happen. They know who that person is. Believe me. You threaten a congressperson, they know where you are.
I
They
hope
know
they will not play
exactly.
that
You
person's
know they.
role.
I can't. Well, oh yes.
I hope so.
Yeah. They don't play with that. And also, this is. We're at a point now where you don't have time for this. We don't have time for this. That's why, when people say, well, where is the president? The president's doing his job. He is not in the middle of all of this mess. He's not messing with them. He's saying, listen, y'all can fight as much as you want to. People will know when they see what we have done and how we have done it. Because it's also not just what you do, it's how you do.
Yeah. I mean, the thing of it is that, we hope, people need to get smart and watch policy.
I think people are getting tired of that because for the longest time people kept saying, well, the Democrats they don't have themselves together. Look at them. And now it doesn't seem that we don't have it together. It seems that they are stuck in their little rat trap of the president isn't the president. Somebody else won, and he's going to come in. It's like, who are you people? And people, I think,
It's
they're
interesting
getting tired.
that Marjorie Taylor Greene was not even in this. You had that fight between Nancy Mace and then Lauren Bubblehead get involved with each other. And then this Marjorie Taylor Greene gets jealous that Bubblehead is getting more attention.
I get it.
That Lauren Bubblehead is raising
That's what I thought
money.
you said. For a second, I was like,
Does she just say Bubblehead? The thing about Lauren Bubble is that she thinks she's a stand-up comic. These racist remarks are said in front of an audience that laughs at the way she did
I'd
it.
also like to see the audience laughing though, because that's also.
But just because they laugh doesn't mean it's funny.
Yeah.
And that's
No,
from-
what
it
I'm
doesn't
saying
mean
is
they're
also-
real.
yeah.
Is what she said.
that's from a comedian. Because sometimes you get laughs for the wrong thing, which is what she did.
If there was an audience there,
There was. Yeah.
did we see them?
Yeah.
Yes,
you
it was
can
in the
see
clip.
them. You can
If they
see
have
them.
the clip, I don't know. Do you have the clip? They don't have the clip.
Yeah, you can see them.
BBC News should have the clip.
Yeah.
No, but maybe we don't need to see the clip. Maybe the answer is yes, those were real people laughing.
They're
I always
laughing.
question when you hear people laughing and I can't see them.
Yeah.
I'm like, who is that?
They were
But doesn't it show how feckless Kevin McCarthy is? He can't
He's the
control
worst.
anything.
That is the
Yeah.
gentlest thing you can say.
But I am happy that Mace called out that behavior because even though she's not a saint and I do not agree with her politically, it's kind of like my volleyball coach said, don't cheer on good teams, cheer on good plays. In that moment, someone from that party needed to say enough is enough.
Yeah.
And so
Oh, and what about the fact that this poor girl, Nancy Mace, was
All right.
was raped?
I was.
And writes about it.
All right, whatever, Lynn.
Taylor Greene uses that.
So, star 1978, star 8378, Nicole, Cattaruzza, it's Bayside Station, Bayside, New York, 11361. I mean, they speak hypothetically about full circle. So if you speak in full circle terms of it starts with someone needing to address a very scary, personal, specific situation. You make a phone call to report a really scary personal situation. And then the chain of events that might happen if you're, say, communicating at a Nicole level, a worry about what might happen at a Silver Washington quarter level, if we're speaking in whatever. Because how do I report something, and then these people have this method of communication, they have this vocabulary that they use, they have this interpretive, they're supposed to be poly-science and poly-mathematics woven into the fabric of every decision that is made for the safety of the human race and for the safety of the fiduciaries and the guardians. But sometimes there's a separation that is really scary when you find yourself in a dangerous situation that needs reporting and is not being handled properly. You don't want to further compromise the safety and structure, but you need to uphold certain pieces of the fabric, but you don't even know, or you haven't been alerted as to what and when something is safe or not. I know that there's something called a profiteer, and that has to do with the business office, and that I wanted to keep like strictly out of my conversation, which I was hoping I did. In processing I keep my head down. I say I walk religiously, but then that word gets misconstrued, because then what religion? I am just a good person. I am a good person, just noticing some very whatever in my local area. I know there's profiteer involved. I know there's more scary people involved, and I don't know whom or what or how, but I know at some point the lands that I walk and that I'm trying to keep whatever has a fiduciary responsibility to me as well. While I am here, I believe, well, I know that my personal safety has already been compromised, but I don't know what that extenuating circumstance or special process means in actuality, and then that scares me on woven and special fabric of time and space and polymathematics and science. So that is all the things that go through my head, but full circle means somebody may have reported on something that needed addressing yesterday in a specific planet, Nicole, to whatever. And then today now the conversation being thrown back from Universal is what I just tried to overlay parlay with staying personal opinion aside, just real live events of the scariness of how this is working at the moment, with very little insight into how the actual mechanics work. I mean, I know that it has to be kept, but again, it is a really frightening whatever at this point. Because I know, like, media journalists like that, they get on the TV and they can sway public opinion one way or the other with these big words, and I don't know if that's following polymathematics and polyscience to the letter and degree that it needs to, or if that's been compromised. Today's supposedly it's a theme today, THEME. It's called World AIDS Day. They showed some 1980s footage of the same exact channel, Channel 2 this morning, that now has the Tony gentleman, Tony, Nate, and Gail, those three. But it showed 1980s footage of a different type of broadcast cast and crew at the time reporting. So that was interesting. I have that on video, but Linda's commandeered the living room at this point. So, again, it's just the real New York at this point and what's happened. Well, I'm just stuck in this. I feel it's like disingenuous. It's like it's not advantageous to, I mean, even get up every morning and have to move. I mean, you do, but it's just, it is a really rough spot. Star 1978, Star 8378, Nicole, Cattaruzza. It's Earth, Solar System, Milky Way, Universe, Galaxy is broken. I also saw this morning on this thematic day that something called a Josephine Baker, who was found refuge and protection in France in an earlier decade of the 19th century, was laid to rest in one of the most honorable ways. They had a whole ceremony or whatever. So that was mentioned today on the beginning part of the news as well. I don't know what that's significant of, if they're putting something to bed, they're putting something to rest. That was a much larger topic and issue. That would make sense. But I do not know what anyone had to do in order to get that level of acknowledgement on the television news this morning. It's a confusing process I'm not part of. I'm just, at this point, very concerned at multiple levels of it's December 1st, 2021. It's Bayside Station, Bayside, New York, 11361.